Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's about 4:30 here, so we got very minimal time to film this before it gets dark. I hate this time of year, and we're gonna make a quick video here about the 5 things I hate about this here Chevy Silverado LTZ. And the reason I want to do this is because, well, everybody does it, of course, but that was how my first video really got started, I guess, on YouTube, was 5 things I hate about my Camaro. And I want to do that with this vehicle as well, because I have owned it for about 4 years, so I actually know some of the little things here and there that there's really not much, but little things that don't make sense to me or that have kind of upset me over time. And like I said, this truck has actually been pretty dang good, but there's definitely a handful of stuff here, and I'm gonna try to do my best to list that off and explain it to you. So we're gonna start off number 1. We're gonna jump to the outside. On these 1500 Silverados, they sit so low to the ground, it's bad. Like, some like little SUVs and stuff, I think, sit higher than this thing off the ground. So that is something that has really bugged me since day one, and I've always thought about lifting it or putting a leveling kit in. A matter of fact, I actually have a leveling kit for this truck in my garage, but I've never put it on there just because I don't know if it'll look right, especially with the tire size I run. I don't want it to look really unproportional, and I also am not sure if I'm going to keep it. If you haven't seen my last video, we talk about possibly getting rid of this truck and getting a new one. There's a deer crossing the road. Ooh. All right, so that is kind of why I have never upgraded that truck in the ride height, and I'm not sure if I'm going to, but it's definitely something that's bugged me forever. I really think these 1500s should sit up higher. There's a truck. They should be big. You should have to get into them, but that probably never happened, so I'll just have to get a diesel that do sit up high from the factory. And number 2 on the list, we're going to kind of stick on the outside, I guess, would be the performance. This truck does great on fuel mileage and daily driving and just cruising around, but it does not have a lot of power by any means. I mean, we have a 5.3 liter V8 motor in this thing. It should have a lot more power and sound, and it's very quiet, which isn't a bad thing. It makes it nice when you're on road trips and stuff like that. You don't hear exhaust droning, but it's very quiet, and it doesn't feel like a V8. It's pretty mellow and definitely lacks the torque that I like, and that's something that is very disappointing to me, being that, once again, that it is a V8. So that is why I would like to get a diesel for a number of reasons, of course, but that is number 1. I want the power for sure. Number 3 I want to talk to you guys about is the seats here. Now, the seats are fine. They're pretty comfortable. They're not bad. The leather's okay. I've seen some other truck brands, they have nicer leather, but the leather's pretty nice. They're really comfortable, nice bolstering, and you can adjust them pretty good. But the number 1 thing I hate about these seats, and let me make sure I don't get sideswiped here. This turn is always a bit interesting. The number 1 thing I hate about these seats are the fact that the stupid, like, heating element, the seat heater, has gone out on it once, and that was about 2 years ago. Then I took it in, had warranty, of course. They replaced it, no big deal. Well, this winter's come around, and the backs of them have gone out again, and the bottoms are not out, but they're not working right. I can tell for sure. Like, one side gets warmer than the other, but it takes forever, like 15-20 minutes, and then they're finally like hot. And my girlfriend's Colorado, that thing gets warm in probably 30 seconds. I kid you not, it's that fast. This thing sucks for the seat heaters. Well, quick side story, I took this in to get an oil change and get winter service and stuff on it just about, I would say, a week, or no, 2 weeks ago, right before I went out of town, and they quoted me $1,000 to replace these seat heaters. $1,000 bucks. That's ridiculous. And they're just heating pads underneath the leather that peels up off the seat. Like, they don't have, it's not hand stitched. They don't have to cut the leather off and then re-hand stitch the leather back together. Like, you peel it off, put the heating element in, and then put it back on. It's pretty simple. So that was ridiculous, and that frustrates me a lot. And that's another reason why I want to get a new truck, because I don't have warranty anymore. And as dumb as that sounds, I think I'd rather have a truck payment and have warranty and all the good stuff like that, rather than having $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 bill sneak up on you because you ran out of warranty. But that's for another topic, I guess. Number 4 on the list, and it's not that big of a deal, as none of these really are, is the screen, the infotainment system. Now, when I got this truck, I came from a very base model Ford F-150, so all of this was phenomenal. Well, the screen in the middle of the cluster here is very good. It's a lot of informational stuff. It works great. I really like it, actually. But this screen, the main screen over here, is pretty dumb. It's a pretty dumb system, and I don't. The best way to explain it is it doesn't have the features, I guess, that some of these new ones do, and I think they should have it. And like I said, when I got into this truck, I was so stoked because it had so many more features than my other one did that I didn't notice. Well, now that I've got looking at other trucks, this infotainment system is very outdated, I guess is the best way I could say it. So all the other ones, you can control your climate, your heated steering wheel, your heated and cooled seats, you can do different camera views, you can do a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff on these new screens. Well, the Chevys have your navigation, your phone, and your audio. Dumb is the best word I can say because it's not an intelligent system. It's just a simple interface that you use, and I wish it was more intelligent and had better features like that. Once again, I was so excited when I did get it that I feel dumb for, I keep saying dumb, I feel bad for talking negatively about it because I was so excited about it a few years ago, but it definitely has reached its age point, I think, and needs to be updated, and I don't see Chevy updating it anytime that soon. Maybe they're sneaking something in on me next year, but I'm not sure, and I think this is definitely a big weak point for these trucks. So last but not least, I'm going to throw in a few things here because I didn't want to make the list, you know, the number 16, but number 5 is some of the features in this truck, and then a couple of the issues I've had. So a feature in this truck that I really don't understand is down here there is a button that has a little logo on it, like a truck going downhill with a speedometer on top of it, and it's like hill descent control or something like that. And I was like, oh, cool, like I live on a very steep hill, maybe this will kick it into like a high RPM so you don't have to downshift, it'll control your hill speed. No, it doesn't. You go to like 10 mile an hour and you hit that button and it controls your brakes for you. It brakes for you. Not very well, may I add. It sounds like your analog brake system is on all the time. It's like, I don't like it. It's the dumbest feature I've ever seen put in a truck, ever. I don't understand. Like, they just had an extra button. They're like, well, I guess we could put a automatic brake in it. It's so dumb. I hate that feature with a passion, as you can tell. So, oh, great. I just got hit with a rock. Please don't tell me that chipped my windshield. God damn it. Geez, so the next thing that it's like a weird little thing that I don't like, and I don't understand why it's like this, is so they're on the handle here for your gear selector. There you can go down the manual mode, and then there's a plus and minus button on top of it, and you can downshift. So like right now we're doing 60 miles an hour, and I can drop it down and I can downshift, and it'll take it a second, but it'll kick in, it'll go downshift. But like at my house, like I said, I live on a steep hill, and in the wintertime I don't like to ride my brakes because of the ice. So instead of going 10, 15 miles an hour, coming around the turn, I downshift, drop it to 1. It doesn't actually ramp up the RPMs. It like stays in neutral almost. It like stays way low in the RPM range until I give it gas, and it'll bump it up and then engage in gear, or I stop all the way, downshift, and then it starts off in first gear. It makes no sense to me whatsoever, and that's very frustrating for sure. That is probably the most frustrating element of all of these things, is because I do need to utilize that sometimes, and it's either a pain to come to a complete stop on maybe a slick hill or something like that, or I have to give it gas on a slick hill and ramp up those RPMs real quick, and then once again hit my brakes. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, and that's very frustrating. And one other thing in the number 5 topic, as far as stuff going on with this truck, is some of the recalls. I've had recalls on the rear sliding window that came off, like the track, or something weird happened with it when I first got it. I had to get that replaced, and I've had to get probably 4 or 5 other little recalls that none of them have really affected me other than that window one, but the rest of the recalls, it just what it is. It's I can't deny it. It's like a Chevy thing, like recalls all over the place. But it's not that frustrating. You know, I get my truck serviced a couple times a year, and I should say my vehicle serviced a couple times a year, and when those recalls are needed, they just do them at that time. So not that big of a deal. But those two features I pointed out right there at the end, those are really frustrating. And yeah, that's all I have for the 5 things I hate about my truck. Overall, I love this truck. It's been great to me over the years, and I really, it's going to hurt to get rid of it, but I am excited for possible new adventures to come with the new truck. If you're looking at buying a truck like this, if you're watching this to see if there's any real faults on it, absolutely not. Everything's ran great. These are things over 4 years you can expect to start to develop not liking about it. Nothing makes me say that is why I'm going to sell this truck at all. Not one thing, honestly. I mean that. So very good truck, and I really love this thing. I hope you guys found this video informational. It's getting dark outside, so I got to cut it off right here. But if you do have any other questions, drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that red subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up as well. And we'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.